What if everything you've ever been told about reality was only a fragment of the truth? What if the answers to life's greatest mysteries, immortality, the nature of consciousness, the very fabric of the universe, were locked away thousands of years ago by a forgotten figure from ancient Egypt? His name was Thoth. He was not just a god carved into temple walls, not merely a myth whispered through the sands of time, but a force beyond space and time itself. A guardian of wisdom so powerful that his teachings were said to transcend death, reshaping the soul and unlocking the true potential of existence. Thoth's influence echoes through the hidden corridors of ancient mystery schools, the sacred texts of Hermeticism, and the secret philosophies that shaped modern spirituality. His knowledge was not for the masses. It was reserved for those ready to transcend illusion. The most sacred of his teachings, the secrets of ascension, the laws governing creation, the truth behind reality itself, were hidden away, sealed, under layers of myth, distortion, and deliberate suppression. But why? Who benefits from keeping humanity blind to its true power? What would happen if we dared to reclaim what was lost, to awaken the ancient wisdom buried beneath centuries of silence? To uncover the mystery of Thoth, we must return to the beginning, not the birth of a man, but the awakening of a divine force unlike any the world has ever known. This is not just history. This is a key to who we truly are, to the destiny of humanity itself. The question is, are you ready to remember? In the vast pantheon of ancient gods, few figures stand out like Thoth. He was more than a deity, more than a myth. He was a force of nature, a cosmic architect shaping the very foundations of knowledge, time, and reality itself. In Egyptian mythology, Thoth was known as Jehuti, the divine scribe, the one who measured the heavens, recorded the deeds of gods and men, and held the keys to the unseen forces that govern existence. He was the mind behind the balance of the universe, the creator of language, the master of wisdom, and the guardian of hidden knowledge. But Thoth's role wasn't just confined to ancient Egypt. His influence stretches across time, reappearing in different ages under different names, always guiding, always watching. Unlike other gods bound to the myths of their civilizations, Thoth was timeless. He was said to have been present at the beginning of creation, witnessing the emergence of the cosmos itself. The Egyptians believed that without him, the world would descend into chaos, that the very fabric of reality depended on his presence. He wasn't just a god, he was the mind of the universe, the cosmic librarian who maintained order in a world built on duality. His wisdom was unparalleled, and his knowledge wasn't just theoretical. It was the kind that could reshape reality. Thoth was often depicted as an ibis-headed deity, a symbol of intellect and the ability to connect with the divine. The ibis, known for its keen sense of observation, represented clarity, precision, and the pursuit of hidden truths. In other depictions, he appeared as a baboon, another sacred creature associated with wisdom, lunar cycles, and esoteric understanding. But while his image became recognizable in Egyptian art, his presence went far beyond hieroglyphs and statues. Thoth's knowledge wasn't meant for everyone. The ancients believed that his teachings were so powerful that they had to be preserved in a way that only those truly ready could access them. He was said to have inscribed the deepest secrets of existence into sacred texts, books so potent that reading them granted the reader unimaginable wisdom, or if unworthy, complete madness. These writings, known as the Books of Thoth, were believed to contain the very fabric of reality, the mysteries of life, death, and the paths to ascension. They were hidden from the world, buried or locked away to prevent their misuse. But even as the centuries passed and civilizations rose and fell, Thoth's wisdom never vanished. His influence bled into the mystery schools of Egypt, where only the initiated were taught fragments of his knowledge. His presence appeared in Greek traditions, where he was syncretized with Hermes, giving birth to the figure known as Hermes Trismegistus, thrice great Hermes, the supposed author of the Hermetic corpus. This connection between Thoth and Hermes is no coincidence. Both were seen as divine messengers, beings that move between the physical and spiritual realms, revealing cosmic truths to those ready to listen. The Kybalion, a text inspired by Hermetic philosophy, echoes Thoth's principles, reinforcing the idea that the universe operates on immutable, hidden laws. But what if the deeper truths, the ones not written down, the ones too powerful for the masses, are still out there? What if the real secrets of Thoth can't be fully disclosed in public spaces, and only those who seek them in the right places will find them? Thoth wasn't just a scribe, a historian, or a wise old god. He was a force that transcended time itself. His name may have changed, but his message remained the same. Knowledge is power, but not all knowledge is meant to be shared freely. His teachings, encoded in sacred texts and hidden traditions, point to a deeper reality, one where consciousness is not just awareness, but an active force that shapes the world around us. What did Thoth truly understand about the mind, the universe, and the nature of existence? And why is it that those who seek his wisdom always find themselves uncovering more than they bargained for? To answer these questions, we must look at the greatest mystery of all, the legendary Emerald Tablets. Some say they are a myth. Others believe they hold the secrets of ascension itself. Either way, what is written on them has the power to shatter everything you thought you knew. The Emerald Tablets, a name that carries an air of mystery, of power, of something forbidden. What if I told you that within these tablets lies the knowledge that could alter the very fabric of reality? That hidden within their words is a roadmap, not only to wisdom, but to something far greater. The secret of immortality, the nature of consciousness, and the structure of existence itself. The Emerald Tablets are no ordinary texts. They are said to be the direct writings of Thoth, inscribed thousands of years ago, long before recorded history. But unlike other ancient texts, they are believed to be indestructible, impervious to time, untouched by decay, surviving through the ages as if they were never meant to be lost. Legends say that Thoth, possessing knowledge beyond human comprehension, engraved the tablets in an unknown material, something beyond metal, beyond stone, something unbreakable, eternal. It is said that these inscriptions were created to preserve the ultimate truths, the kind that could unravel the mysteries of life, death, and ascension itself. But as powerful as they were never meant for just anyone. Thoth, the great keeper of wisdom, understood that knowledge in the wrong hands is not enlightenment, but destruction. That is why the tablets were hidden, locked away in secret locations, buried beneath the sands of time, waiting for those who are worthy to uncover them. But what exactly do these ancient inscriptions reveal? Their contents speak of cosmic laws, of the unseen forces that govern all things, of the power within the mind to shape and control reality itself. They describe the fundamental principles of the universe, laws that resonate with Hermeticism, alchemy, and even the discoveries of modern quantum physics. Among these principles is the legendary phrase, "As above, so below, as within, so without." A simple statement, yet it contains the entire structure of existence. It tells us that the macrocosm and microcosm are reflections of one another, that the universe is not separate from us but mirrors the very thoughts we hold within. The tablets go further, revealing that time itself is an illusion, that past, present, and future exist simultaneously, and that those who master the hidden laws can step outside the bounds of time itself. They speak of the journey of the soul, of consciousness moving beyond death, of the transformation from mortal being to something more, a higher state of existence beyond the physical plane. Some believe that the knowledge within the tablets is the foundation of all mystical teachings, from the pyramids of Egypt to the alchemical traditions of the Middle Ages, and even the modern-day study of energy, vibration, and frequency. Could it be that Thoth left behind not just wisdom, but a blueprint for human evolution itself? Yet despite the power they contain, Mainstream history barely acknowledges the tablets. They are dismissed as myth, as legend, as symbolic writings, with no real significance. But why? Who gains from keeping this knowledge buried? The truth is, throughout history, those in power have always feared those who think for themselves. The Emerald Tablets, if truly understood, would shatter the illusion that we are limited beings, that we are bound by the constraints of this world. They teach that we are more, far more, than what we have been led to believe. But here's where the mystery deepens. Some accounts claim that the Emerald Tablets were never lost at all, that secret societies, mystery schools, and powerful elites have guarded them for centuries, using their knowledge in ways the world was never meant to know. Could it be that the secrets of manifestation, energy control, and divine consciousness have been hidden in plain sight, disguised in fragmented philosophies, waiting for those who seek the truth to piece them together? And if so, what happens when that truth is finally uncovered? One thing is certain. Thoth did not leave his teachings to be forgotten. He ensured that the wisdom of the tablets would be preserved, not just in physical form, but in the fabric of reality itself. Those who seek knowledge, who question the nature of existence, who look beyond the veil of illusion, will find themselves drawn to these truths over and over again. But the question remains, are you ready to see beyond the illusion? Because once you do, there is no turning back. And if the Emerald Tablets hold the keys to consciousness, then what does that say about their creator? What did Thoth truly understand? About the mind, about thought, about the power of awareness itself? To answer that, we must explore the greatest revelation of all, Thoth's mastery over consciousness, and how his teachings point to a universe far more mysterious than we could ever imagine. If the Emerald Tablets reveal the hidden laws of the universe, then Thoth himself must have understood something far greater than what is recorded in history. He was not just a god of writing or wisdom. He was the architect of consciousness itself. The ancients did not simply revere him as a scribe. They saw him as a master of reality, someone who grasped the very fabric of existence and knew how to mold it. But what did Thoth truly understand? What knowledge did he possess that has been fragmented, hidden, or dismissed over the centuries? The answer may lie in the very nature of consciousness itself. Throughout history, mystics, philosophers, and scientists alike have struggled to define what consciousness really is. Where does it come from? Is it generated by the brain, or is it something far more expansive, something independent of physical form? Modern science attempts to reduce it to mere neurological activity, but Thoth's teachings suggest something radically different. He understood that consciousness is not confined to the mind. It is the fundamental force behind reality itself. According to his wisdom, reality is not something we passively observe, but something we actively shape. It is a construct, a malleable field of energy responding to the vibrations of thought and intent. Thoth described the universe as being composed of different planes of existence, each one governed by its own laws, each one interconnected through the power of the mind. His teachings align eerily well with what modern physics is only beginning to understand. The idea that, at a fundamental level, reality behaves like a quantum field, where observation influences matter, and where consciousness itself may be the hidden variable shaping the material world. If this is true, then our understanding of reality is incomplete. We are not merely physical beings moving through a fixed universe. We are participants, creators, co-authors of existence itself. One of Thoth's greatest revelations was the illusion of time. He did not see time as linear, as something moving from past to future. Instead, he described it as cyclical, layered, something that could be bent and traversed. If time is not what we think it is, then what does that mean for memory, for destiny, for the very structure of reality? The Emerald Tablets speak of the halls of Amenti, a mystical plane where time collapses, where past, present, and future exist simultaneously. This concept aligns closely with the idea of the Akashic records. An ethereal record of all that has ever happened, is happening, and will happen. Could it be that Thoth had access to this knowledge? Did he understand how to step beyond time itself, to exist outside its limits, to witness reality from a vantage point beyond human perception? His teachings also touch upon the nature of vibration, a principle that has been echoed in spiritual traditions for millennia. Everything in existence vibrates: energy, thought, matter. The difference between the physical and the non-physical is simply a difference in frequency. Those who understand this, who can tune their consciousness to higher vibrations, gain access to realms beyond the physical, beyond the ordinary senses. This is why the ancients did not just see Thoth as a god, but as a bridge between worlds, a being who could navigate the hidden dimensions of existence. If consciousness is the key to shaping reality, then why is this knowledge not widespread? Why are people still taught that they are separate from the universe, powerless in the face of circumstance? The answer is unsettling. A population that understands the power of its own consciousness is impossible to control. If you knew, truly knew, that your thoughts shape your experience, that your mind is not confined by the limits imposed upon it, would you accept the world as it is, or would you begin to reshape it? This is the knowledge that has been hidden, diluted, and kept from the masses. It is the reason why spiritual texts are rewritten, why the mystical is labeled as myth, why those who seek truth are often ridiculed. But despite every attempt to suppress it, the wisdom of Thoth has never fully disappeared. It has survived in symbols, in secret societies, in the whispered teachings of those who have glimpsed beyond the veil. And for those who are ready to listen, it is still there, waiting to be understood. But Thoth's understanding of consciousness was not limited to thought and vibration. He also revealed something even more mysterious: the idea that death itself is an illusion. If consciousness is eternal, then what happens after we leave this physical world? Does Thoth's wisdom extend beyond life, beyond the limits of what we think is possible? The answer to that question may change everything. If Thoth possessed the knowledge of consciousness, time, and the hidden structure of reality, then the most profound question remains: did he ever truly die, or did he master the ultimate secret, the ability to move beyond death, to exist beyond the limits of the physical form? For centuries, esoteric traditions have hinted at something astonishing. Thoth never ceased to exist. Instead, he continued to walk among humanity, reincarnating throughout history under different names, appearing in different forms, always returning when his wisdom was needed most. In Egyptian myth, Thoth was depicted as an immortal being, one who had witnessed the dawn of creation and who would exist beyond the end of time itself. Unlike the other gods, he was not born into divinity through lineage or worship. He was self-created, a force that emerged beyond the material world. He was said to have recorded all knowledge, not just of the gods, but of humanity's past, present, and future. And in the mystery schools of Egypt, it was believed that he had perfected the ability to leave his body at will, to travel between dimensions, and to return in different incarnations, always carrying fragments of his past wisdom. One of the most well-known identities linked to Thoth is Hermes Trismegistus, the legendary sage of the Hermetic tradition. The Greeks, upon encountering Egyptian wisdom, saw undeniable similarities between Thoth and their own god Hermes, the messenger of the gods, the guide of souls, the master of esoteric knowledge. But Hermes Trismegistus was not merely a god in their eyes. He was a man, an enlightened figure who wrote profound philosophical and mystical texts, including the Hermetic corpus, which laid the foundation for alchemy, astrology, and sacred geometry. To the Hermetics, Hermes was Thoth reborn, continuing his divine mission under a new name in a new age. But Hermes Trismegistus was only one of many. Some traditions claim Thoth's reincarnations extend even further, appearing throughout different civilizations as great teachers, visionaries, and philosophers. His presence can be traced in the legends of Enoch, the biblical patriarch who was said to have walked with God and ascended to the heavens without experiencing death. Some even suggest he influenced the teachings of Pythagoras, whose mathematical revelations mirrored the sacred geometry found in Egyptian temples. Others point to the ascended masters of ancient mystery schools, figures who possessed knowledge beyond their time, whose writings and teachings seem to carry echoes of Thoth's original wisdom. What if the greatest minds in history were not just influenced by Thoth's teachings, but were Thoth himself, returning again and again to guide humanity? If this is true, then the implications are staggering. It suggests that certain souls, those who reach a level of enlightenment, can move through time, not in the way we understand reincarnation, where past lives are forgotten, but in full awareness of their purpose, carrying forward the knowledge they gained in previous incarnations. This would explain why certain ancient texts describe the process of ascension not as a spiritual metaphor, but as a literal transformation, one where the physical body is left behind and the soul continues, free from the cycle of birth and death. But if Thoth has reincarnated multiple times, if he has returned throughout history to guide humanity, then where is he now? Has he appeared again in modern times, hidden behind another identity, waiting for those who are ready to recognize him? Or has his wisdom been scattered, waiting to be pieced together by those who seek the truth? One thing is certain: his influence never truly disappeared. His teachings have remained embedded in esoteric traditions, in secret knowledge passed down through the ages. And those who resonate with his wisdom, those who feel drawn to his mysteries, may be closer to uncovering the truth than they realize. Because Thoth's greatest revelation wasn't just about knowledge, it was about what lies beyond this world. If his teachings are correct, then death itself is an illusion, and the journey of the soul is far greater than we have been led to believe. But what did Thoth truly know about the afterlife, and how did he describe the process of transcendence? That is the next mystery we must unravel. If Thoth was more than a god, if he was a force beyond time, a being who reincarnated across the ages, then his understanding of death must have been unlike anything we have been taught. The ancient Egyptians did not see death as an end. To them, it was a transition, a doorway into another state of existence, a passage through which the soul would either ascend to greater knowledge or be trapped in the cycle of rebirth. And at the center of this understanding was Thoth, the keeper of wisdom, the guide of souls, the one who recorded the fate of the departed in the Book of Life. But was this just mythology, or did Thoth leave behind something far greater? A hidden truth about what happens after we leave this world. The Egyptian Book of the Dead describes the journey of the soul after death, the trials it must undergo, the tests that determine whether it is worthy of transcendence. The most famous of these is the weighing of the heart, where the deceased stands before Osiris, their heart placed on a scale against the feather of Maat, the symbol of divine truth and balance. If the heart is light, the soul moves forward into higher realms. If it is heavy, burdened by sin, it is devoured, and the soul must return, reincarnating into the physical world to try again. But what is rarely spoken about is that Thoth was the one who recorded these judgments. He was not just a passive observer. He was the one who inscribed the fate of the soul, who understood the deeper mechanics of how existence worked beyond the physical plane. And here is where the mystery deepens. In the Emerald Tablets, Thoth does not speak of death as an end, nor does he describe the afterlife in terms of reward and punishment. Instead, he speaks of transformation, of the ability to transcend, to break free from the cycle altogether. He describes the halls of Amenti, a realm beneath the surface of the earth, where souls travel between incarnations. But he also speaks of beings, masters of the ancient ways, who do not die, but instead choose when to leave their physical form, existing in a high state of awareness. These beings, according to Thoth, have learned to navigate the unseen forces of the universe, to ascend beyond material limitations. What does this mean? Could it be that Thoth was not merely a god of wisdom, but a guide to something much greater? A system of knowledge that allows the soul to consciously control its journey through life, death, and beyond. Modern physics is beginning to unravel the strange nature of consciousness, with some theories suggesting that awareness is not confined to the body, that it exists independently of the brain. Ancient spiritual traditions have always spoken of this, describing the ability to leave the body, to travel beyond the limits of the physical. If Thoth's teachings align with this, then what we call death is not an ending, but a shift, a movement, from one state to another, dictated by the knowledge one has acquired. It is no wonder that many secret societies have been obsessed with Thoth's teachings, from the ancient mystery schools to the esoteric orders of today. If consciousness can exist beyond the body, then those who master it would no longer be bound by the rules imposed on the physical world. And if this knowledge were available to all, then death itself would lose its power as a tool of control. Perhaps this is why so much of Thoth's wisdom has been hidden, locked away, obscured by time and deliberate deception. Because if people truly understood that they are more than their bodies, that they are part of something eternal, then the entire structure of fear and obedience that governs the world would collapse. But there is something even more mysterious. Thoth himself spoke of those who do not simply pass through the afterlife, but who return, time and time again, as guides, teachers, and guardians of knowledge. Could it be that the greatest spiritual figures throughout history, those who have awakened humanity to higher truths, were connected to Thoth's lineage? Did they tap into the same knowledge, the same hidden laws of consciousness and reality that he recorded long ago? And if so, what does that mean for us? If Thoth was right, then we are not bound by fate. We are not powerless in the face of death. We are part of something far greater, something that has been deliberately hidden, but which has never truly been lost. And if we can reclaim this knowledge, if we can awaken to what has been forgotten, then we may finally understand what Thoth knew all along, that life and death are just two sides of the same illusion. But if that illusion has been used to keep humanity in ignorance, what other truths have been erased from history? How much more of Thoth's wisdom has been buried, hidden, distorted? The answer may be more shocking than we ever imagined. If Thoth understood the true nature of consciousness, time, and existence itself, then why has his wisdom been buried beneath layers of myth and secrecy? Why is it that his teachings, which once shaped the foundation of ancient civilizations, are now dismissed as legend or ignored altogether? The deeper we look, the more apparent it becomes that Thoth's knowledge was never meant for the masses. It was preserved in symbols, hidden within sacred texts, passed down in whispers through secret traditions. But who decided that this wisdom should be concealed, and what happens when it is finally rediscovered? Throughout history, we see a pattern. Great knowledge is always suppressed, always hidden from the public, always kept in the hands of a select few. The ancient Egyptians held their mysteries in the temples, revealing them only to the initiated. The Greeks turned Thoth into Hermes Trismegistus, encoding his teachings in the Hermetic texts, accessible only to those who sought them out. In the Middle Ages, alchemists and mystics guarded his wisdom in allegories, disguising truth in symbols so that only those who were ready could understand. And even today, traces of Thoth's knowledge remain hidden in plain sight, woven into philosophy, quantum physics, and esoteric traditions. But why? If this knowledge is meant to enlighten humanity, why has it been systematically buried, diluted, or ridiculed? The answer is simple. True wisdom is dangerous to those who seek control. If people understood that they are not powerless, that they are creators of their own reality, that consciousness shapes existence itself, the structures that govern the world, would crumble. Religious institutions, political systems, financial empires, they all rely on the idea that power is external, that authority lies outside the individual. Thoth's teachings dismantle that illusion. They reveal that power is internal, that enlightenment is not granted but earned, that divinity is not separate from us, it is within us. Consider the Emerald Tablets, a text that describes not only the laws of the universe but the keys to transcending the physical world. If these tablets were simply ancient mythology, why do secret societies, occultists, and elite groups continue to reference them? Why have scholars, philosophers, and alchemists dedicated their lives to deciphering their messages? Could it be that the fragments we have today are just pieces of something much larger, something that has been deliberately obscured over time? Some accounts claim that certain passages from the tablets have been deliberately removed, hidden from public access. Others suggest that the true knowledge of Thoth has been kept within elite circles, passed down only to those deemed worthy of it. And then there is the most unsettling possibility of all, that the full knowledge of Thoth never disappeared, but was instead weaponized, used by those in power to shape the world according to their own desires while keeping the rest of humanity blind to its potential. If this is true, then the greatest secret of all is not just that Thoth's wisdom exists, but that it has been used against us, turned into a tool not for liberation, but for control. But here is the truth they don't want you to realize. Thoth's knowledge cannot be erased. It has survived for thousands of years, resurfacing again and again in different forms, waiting for those who are ready to see it. The question is, what will you do with it? Will you dismiss it as myth, as superstition, as something irrelevant to your life? Or will you begin to look deeper, to question everything you have been told, to seek out the wisdom that has been deliberately kept from you? Because once you start down this path, there is no turning back. The illusion begins to crumble, and what is left is something far more powerful than you ever imagined. Thoth's teachings were never just about knowledge. They were about transformation, about breaking free from the illusions that bind us, about reclaiming the divine power that has always been within us. But knowledge alone is not enough. Awakening is only the first step. The real question is, how will you use this knowledge? How will you apply it in your own life? And what will happen when more and more people begin to remember what was once forgotten, because the time of forgetting is over? The age of awakening has begun, and Thoth's wisdom, hidden for so long, is finally being remembered. But the journey doesn't end here. Because now that we have uncovered what was lost, we must ask ourselves, how do we use this knowledge to truly awaken? And more importantly, how do we break free from the forces that have kept it hidden for so long? That is the next step. That is where true transformation begins. Knowledge by itself is not enough. You can uncover the hidden truths, decode the ancient wisdom, and glimpse beyond the illusions of this world. But unless you apply it, unless you allow it to transform the way you think, perceive, and act, then it remains just information. Powerful, yes, but powerless in your hands. Thoth did not preserve his teachings for passive observation. He left behind a blueprint for those willing to awaken, for those ready to step beyond the limitations imposed upon them. The question is, are you truly ready to use it? Thoth's teachings were never about mere intellect. They were about understanding the nature of reality on a level so deep that it changes everything. He spoke of the mind as the architect of existence, the shaper of worlds, the force that bends reality itself. The principle of as above, so below, as within, so without, is more than just poetic wisdom. It is a direct statement of how the universe functions. What happens within you is reflected in the world around you. What you think, feel, and believe shapes the very reality you experience. This is why consciousness is the most valuable and most controlled force in existence. The system does not need to imprison you physically when it can do so mentally. If it can dictate what you believe to be true, it has already shaped the world in which you live. This is where Thoth's wisdom becomes more than just historical intrigue. It is a tool, a key to undoing the conditioning, to breaking free from the invisible chains placed upon your mind since birth. His knowledge reveals that you are not just a passive participant in this reality, you are a creator. The limits you perceive, the obstacles you encounter, the very nature of your existence is a result of the vibrational patterns set by your own consciousness. If you understand this, you can begin to change it. You can begin to rewrite the reality you experience. But awakening is not easy. It requires unlearning. It requires dismantling the false narratives, the conditioned responses, the deeply ingrained beliefs that have shaped how you see yourself in the world. It demands that you step into uncertainty, that you question not only what you have been taught, but also why you accepted it. Thoth's teachings guide those who seek truth through this process, but there is one fundamental obstacle that prevents most from ever taking the first step: fear. Fear is the most powerful tool of control ever created. It is the mechanism by which people remain stagnant, by which they resist change, even when they sense the truth calling to them. Fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of stepping outside the confines of what is deemed acceptable by society. But Thoth's wisdom cuts through this illusion. He knew that fear is not a force to be avoided, but to be understood. It is a signal, a threshold between what is known and what is possible. And those who recognize this, those who refuse to let fear dictate their actions, are the ones who truly awaken. This is why Thoth's teachings were hidden, not because they were meant to be kept from you, but because the world was designed to keep you from them. To access this knowledge requires a shift in perception, an ability to see beyond the immediate, beyond the surface level of what is presented to you. This is why those who seek truth are ridiculed, why those who challenge the system are dismissed as delusional, why those who speak of deeper realities are met with resistance. Because the moment you begin to awaken, the illusion loses its power. But knowledge alone does not break the cycle. It is action that dismantles control. It is practice that transforms wisdom into experience. It is one thing to understand that your consciousness shapes reality. It is another to actively live as if that were true. What thoughts do you entertain? What beliefs do you reinforce? What limitations do you impose upon yourself without question? These are the real prisons, the ones that Thoth sought to help humanity escape. But the question remains: how do you use this knowledge? How do you take these ancient truths and apply them in the modern world? How do you reclaim what has been suppressed for so long? That is the next step, the final piece of the puzzle. Because awakening is only the beginning. The real challenge, the real test, is what you do with it. And if you are ready, then it is time to take action. It is time to break free. Awakening is only the first step. Knowledge without action is nothing more than words, ideas without form, potential left unrealized. Thoth's wisdom was never meant to be passively observed. It was meant to be applied, to be lived, to be integrated into every moment of existence. He did not just teach that reality was shaped by consciousness. He provided the means to wield that understanding, to step beyond limitation, to reclaim the true power hidden within. But the real question is, will you use it, or will you fall back into the comfortable illusion that was built to contain you? The first step in applying Thoth's wisdom is shifting your perception of reality. You have been conditioned to believe that the external world is fixed, that what you see, touch, and experience is something outside of you, independent of your mind. This illusion is what keeps you trapped, making you believe that you are subject to forces beyond your control. But Thoth taught that reality does not exist separately from the observer. It is fluid, shaped by frequency, intention, and consciousness. Once you understand this, everything changes. The limits you believed were real begin to dissolve. The idea of fate, of predestined suffering, of a life dictated by external circumstances, all of it falls apart. The second step is mastery of thought. Thoth revealed that thought is not passive, it is the architect of existence. Every idea you hold, every belief you reinforce, every expectation you place upon reality is a vibrational imprint that molds the world around you. You have already been using this ability, but unconsciously, directed by programming designed to keep you within boundaries. Every system in place, education, religion, media, has conditioned you to think in ways that reinforce limitations. But the moment you reclaim your thoughts, the moment you consciously choose what to believe, what to expect, and what to create, you step into the role of the creator rather than the created. The third step is breaking the cycle of fear. Fear is the mechanism by which control is maintained. The fear of failure, of rejection, of stepping outside what is deemed acceptable keeps people obedient to a system that does not serve them. Thoth understood that fear is an illusion, a distortion of perception designed to limit human potential. The moment you stop fearing the unknown, the moment you embrace uncertainty as a gateway to expansion, you dismantle the greatest tool of control ever devised. Those who walk this path, who refuse to be ruled by fear, are the ones who break free from the illusions that bind the rest of humanity. Thoth's wisdom was never meant for the few. It was meant for those who are ready. But readiness is not about knowledge alone. It is about action. It is about stepping beyond theory and embodying truth. You have been given the keys. The choice is now yours. Will you continue to live as you have, shaped by illusions and limitations? Or will you take the next step, begin to apply these principles, and reshape reality itself? Because Thoth did not simply record knowledge, he showed the way, and those who follow it will never see the world the same way again. But there is one final question left to answer. If all of this is true, if reality itself can be reshaped by consciousness, then what does that mean for the future? And what role will you play in shaping it? Everything changes the moment you understand the truth. When you finally see beyond the illusion, when you realize that reality is not something fixed, but something fluid, something responsive, something shaped by your very consciousness, you cannot go back to the way things were. You begin to notice the patterns, the constructs designed to keep you blind, the invisible forces that have dictated your beliefs, your fears, your limitations. And then, for the first time, you understand that you were never truly bound by any of it. The door was never locked. You only believed it was. Thoth's wisdom was not just about knowledge. It was about transformation. He did not leave behind words for the sake of history. He left behind a blueprint, a key to the hidden mechanics of existence. Those who have discovered it, who have studied the emerald tablets, hermetic principles, and the deeper mysteries woven through time, understand that awakening is not a moment. It is a process. And that process does not end with awareness. It begins there. Because once you see the nature of reality, you are faced with a choice. Will you step into your power, or will you ignore it? Will you use this knowledge, or will you let it remain an intellectual curiosity? Because knowing is not enough. The world is shaped by those who act. For centuries, humanity has been trapped in cycles of forgetting and remembering. Great knowledge has surfaced, only to be buried again. Powerful teachings have awakened minds, only to be distorted, diluted, or lost in time. But what happens when enough people wake up? What happens when the cycle is broken, when the knowledge can no longer be suppressed, when the illusions crumble under the weight of truth? The future of consciousness is not predetermined. It is being created now in every moment by those who choose to remember. The reality we live in is a reflection of the collective mind. The systems of control exist because enough people believe in them. The limitations of society persist because they are reinforced by those who accept them. But just as the past was shaped by those who wielded knowledge, the future will be shaped by those who reclaim it. This is what Thoth understood, that the mind is the true architect, that belief is the foundation of existence, that those who master their consciousness will master reality itself. But the journey doesn't end here. If anything, this is only the beginning. There is still so much that has been hidden, still so much that remains to be uncovered. And if you have followed this path, if you feel the pull toward deeper truths, then you are not alone. There are mysteries too vast, too powerful to be shared in the open. But for those who seek them, the doors will always appear. The knowledge is there, waiting to be found. But it requires action, commitment, and the willingness to step beyond the limits of what is considered possible. The deeper truths of Thoth's wisdom, the insights that cannot be fully explored here, are available for those who seek them. What did you think about today's video? Feel free to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Thank you for watching. If this video opened your mind or helped you see reality in a new light, don't forget to like and subscribe to Top Hidden Knowledge so you never miss our next deep dive into mystery, perception, and the hidden workings of our universe. And, if you have time, explore more videos on our channel. We're just getting started. Until next time, stay curious, stay aware, and never stop questioning the world around you.